Hey guys, welcome to Rogue Vault Exploring Dark Web series, and in this episode we're going to understand to set up a lab, a secure lab to access the dark web, and also to have a contained access for your session. So this lab setup involves in different procedures, so I'm going to explain you quickly on that. So let's start with building your cyber lab, right? So to build this cyber lab, the first thing we need is an operating system. So we have fixed in our mind from the episode 0 that we are going to go with Kali Linux. So I always prefer using Kali Linux for setting up a secure lab. So I'm choosing Kali Linux Purple Edition. So this has both offensive and defensive tools to keep you secured when you are accessing the dark web and when you want a complete anonymity or privacy. So I'm going to choose the Kali Linux Purple. So that is the operating system which we are going to use to set up our Kali Linux virtual lab. And once you choose your baseline operating system, then we need to choose the base on which this operating system, the Kali Linux operating system, is going to install. We have multiple options. We have VMware Workstation Pros, and we have even other virtual mediums and disk which we can use. So you can use VMware Workstation Pro 17 for Windows, and you can use VMware Fusion for the Mac, and you also have an option called VirtualBox from the Oracle. So I don't prefer to go with VirtualBox because this has a lot of limitations when it comes to configuring VPNs and networks and so NAT systems and stuff. So VMware gives you a more flexible and convenient way by which you can install the operating system and operate it in a secure environment. So to set up this secure lab, I'm going to use VMware virtual machine. On top of it, I'm going to install Kali Linux. But this VMware has to sit on a bare metal or with an operating system. So this cannot be an operating system as such. So for the bare metal operating system, I'm going to use Windows, and that is going to be the base operating system. So I'm going to use Windows 10 or Windows 11. You can use your own. You can download and install the virtual machine, and the base operating system needs to be Windows. That's where we're going. If you have a Mac operating system, you can use the Mac and install VMware Fusion. If not, install VMware Pro on a Windows machine. And the bare metal, that means the laptop or the desktop on which you are going to install the operating system, that should eventually have a set of configuration. So you can see on the screen, so we have a set of configuration. So you should have minimum 64-bit of CPU with hardware virtualization. You have to go into the BIOS and enable the virtualization UEFI on the BIOS. But then eventually you should have 64-bit CPU, first one, and the machine should support virtualization. That's why we recommend to go with 64-bit processor, and you should have virtualization VTX or AMDV enabled in the BIOS. So this is an option which you have to separately get into the BIOS and enable it. And then you should have a minimum of 8 GB of RAM. So what I have mentioned here is a 2 GB or 8 GB RAM. So for a RAM is 8 GB and also 16 GB, which is again we need if you have 16 GB RAM, you have a better performance. But 8 GB RAM minimum for the host, plus for VM 16 GB, is better if you're running multiple VMs. So I am running especially around 6 or 7 VMs on my machine, so I give more RAM to the virtual machine, but it's not accurate that I have an 8 GB RAM and I can give you 16 GB. It's the other way around, where I have around 16 GB of RAM and I am giving 8 GB minimum for the virtual machine. So the concept is that you should minimum give 8 GB RAM for a VM to run, and if you have multiple VMs you should give more RAM to the VMware application, so that it can hold the heaviness of the operating systems installed within. So the next one is we should have a minimum of 500 GB disk space for the base OS, and minimum we need to have 50 GB of disk space for the virtual machine which you're going to configure. So we need to have 50 GB for the VM, allocate separately, and the minimum is 500 GB on the base operating system, and it's always recommended to have an SSD rather having a conventional hardware or hard disk drive. So and the base operating system, as I said, it's Windows, but if you have Mac, the entire configuration set goes into different, because Mac has its custom built traditional Macintosh machines. Linux can be installed on the same configuration, and for the Linux, any version and flavor of Linux, this is a configuration which is too much compared to Windows and Mac. It's excess of configuration. So I'm going to go with Windows. That's the operating system which we're going to select, and this is how we're going to start setting up our lab. So now that I have done showing you guys that how we're going to how did we select the operating system and what are we that we're going to do all this. So these are the configuration stats, the basic requirements which I have given you. So now that I have done this, let's get on in getting our kicking start installing the Kali Linux on a virtual machine. Let me show you how it is done. So I need to quickly switch the screen for this so that I can start demonstrating you guys how this is done. So to kickstart installation, we just need to organize our machine. So I have a bare metal already, so eventually I'll not be able to show you the bare metal, and I have an operating system installed over the bare metal as well. So I have a base operating system, I have a computer which has this base operating system which is Windows, and now next is in the Windows I need to install the VMware workstation. So because I'm using Windows, I need to install VMware Workstation Pro, and I can just download from here. So you can download from vmware.com product desktop, and you can just download it and install it on your machine, or you can download from any source which you can get a reliable and trustable source, download and install. For if you're using for Mac, it is going to be the Fusion Pro, which you need to download and install, or you can install it from the Mac Apple Store. Or for Windows, you can also, if you're using Windows 11 Plus, you can buy it from the Windows Microsoft Store. So this is where you download, and then after downloading the VMware Workstation Pro, you install the VMware Workstation Pro with the basic configuration set, and then post installation is when you just need to get into the kali.org domain. So in the kali.org domain, what you need to do is you just need to get on to the download space. So I just need to select download. So now I can choose which one to download. So what is that exactly I'm looking at? What is that I want to download? Is it going to be a virtual machine image, or virtual machine based image, pre-built image, or it's going to be a normal installer image or a mobile image? So you have different versions, containers and cloud, and live boot, where you put USB and you can boot from the USB directly and use it on the USB, and you're not going to install it on the machine. Then you have the Kali Linux installers. So these are the installers. So 2025.4, this is the latest version we have. We don't have anything released in 26. So this is what I was talking about, the Kali purple. So we have a Kali purple. So the size of it is 4.4 GB. So ensure that you have enough internet space. And also when you click on this download, you can either download by torrent or you can directly download by this as well, direct download option as well. So this is where you can explore. So so this is the VMware virtual box which I was talking about, and there is some other ones like Hyper-V and QM. So and there is one good thing is there are images which are built especially for the virtual machines. So all you need to do is select download this image, directly upload it into virtual machine, and it starts working. Okay, that's one easy way by which I can install Kali Linux. It's not eventually installation. You can just mount Kali Linux into the virtual machine, and the next moment you can start working on it. I'm not going to go with this option where I download. It's going to be very easy for any of us to do this. So all you need to do is download, and when I'm demonstrating on the virtual machine, I'll show you how this image can be mounted. So let's get back to the traditional Kali Linux image which I want to download, which is the Kali Linux purple. Alright, this is the one, not the weekly one. I'm going to install the download the Kali Linux purple. So all you need to do is click on the download, and the download will start over here. Right, so I'm not going to download because I have already downloaded this image previously. So my image is ready. All I need to do is mount it on my Kali machine. I'm sorry, virtual machine. So here we go. So I'm just going to minimize this, and I'm going to bring up the virtual machine. So you can use the latest. You're supposed to use the latest version of Workstation Pro, which is I suppose 18. But I'm using Workstation 12, which is a bit outdated, and I haven't upgraded. Or I didn't buy the 18 license, so I'm planning to upgrade my workstation to 18. The problem is the operating system also needs to support. It's just not that you can upgrade this, but your base version of operating system is Windows 7 or 8 or so on. So once the image is downloaded, so when we are in this workstation screen, all you need to do, there are two options as I said, like when you're working with Kali and you're directly downloading an image from the Kali Linux. So this one, I'm just gonna show this real quick. So the virtual machine image, this one, if you download this, how we're going to do mount is, you just need to select this open virtual machine. Okay, you just need to go in and search for your virtual machine, and then you need to select the virtual machine image and get it mounted. But we are not going to do this way. We're going to go this way, where we're going to install a virtual machine from the scratch. So I'm going to create a new virtual machine. So this is the virtual machine welcome wizard. I'm just going to go very quick. If you have any questions or doubt, you can always connect with me on the Discord server. Ask for your doubts. The Discord link will flash here on the video, or you can also get it from the channel. So I'm going to go with typically recommended ones. I'm not going to customize the Kali Linux because I don't see a need to do that, because I'm not using the old controllers and stuff. So I'm going to go with typical recommended one, and then install a disk. I'm not going to use a disk, but I have downloaded the ISO image. So this is very important. When you get the Kali Linux, it is going to come to you in an installer image. Installer image is an ISO image, right? So this is going to be an ISO image. So what you have to do is you have to just select the path of the ISO image. So I'm just going to quickly select the path. Alright, so here we go. So Kali Linux purple, this is the file which I have installed, downloaded. all I need to do is click on open, and the path gets fixed over here, right? And then click on next. Then everything is by default, it's picked up from the image itself. You can just leave it as such. And then you just need to name your virtual machine. I'm going to name it as Rogue Labs. Okay, this is what my virtual machine name is going to look like, Rogue Labs. So next, so the minimum space, which eventually I told you in the initial phase, is that now it's 8 GB. I'm not going to give 8 GB for sure. This is a recommended size, which is but then I'm going to upgrade it to 10 GB. I'm just going to give enough of breathing space for my operating system, and I can either split the virtual machine. So this will be easy when you have a large virtual machine, where you can just move the virtual machine from one VM to other. But I'm not going to go with a single image. I'm going to go with the multiple. Single image in the sense, it's going to be a one VMDK file, and you just move around with that file, and one file gets corrupted, the entire virtual machine is gone. Here it's very easy for moving, as well as if there's any issues, it can also be fixed. And when there's a large disk, it is better to keep it in the fragmented state. So click on next. This is the Rogue Lab. So you just get your basic hard drive, which we have set. Memory is something which we need to, so we can just, if you want, you can also customize the hardware. So now we can set memory. The recommended size is something of 512 MB, but I'm not going to go with that, and I'm going to give it at least 2 GB of space, the memory. And you can still go up the order, because I have multiple virtual machines configured on the same system. I'm not going to give more memory space for this particular installation of Kali Linux. And then the network, all these things can be configured in the later state as well. Alright, so I can just close this one. I have set 2 GB as memory. Now I click on finish. Alright, so once it's finished, the loading of kernel starts. So on the left you can see the basic infos, and the down you will have machine is powered off. So that means I need to power it on. Here I have a play button with green marking, so I just click on the play button. The VMware starts loading, and it will start pulling out the image. So I'm just gonna mute here, so that things are going to be on a quicker note, because I'm just going to fast forward this, and it's no point in having my voice over here. So now I'm going to do a graphic install. So the problem is, because the VM reacts very vague, because there is no driver installed, the VM tools installed. So whenever there is a change in display, the VM loses its designated display space. So let's quickly go through this. You just select English, which is your preferred language. Go continue. I select United Kingdom, British English. Now configuring your keyboard, detecting the hardware. So you just need to configure your host name, just like how you give a name for your operating system. So the first name which we gave is for the VM to recognize as an operating, recognize as operating system for you when you refer back next time. So host name, I'm going to give Rogue Labs. Okay, this is the host name. I'm sorry, I just can't use that. RV labs. So rogue world labs is, so you can't have space and stuff. So I just hit enter. Domain name is something which you don't need to enter. Okay, so now you're going to give a name for the user. So you're not going to be the root, like how we have in Windows administrator is a top account or the power account, or the administrator is going to be the top account. Here it's root, but you're not going to get a privilege of root. You have to create a new user account which has limited privilege, and you need to elevate the privilege when it's required. So the name for the new user account would be rogue, right? So this is the name. I hit enter. So set up users and passwords. So account is user, and so the password, right? So I just entered the password I wish, and I just click next. So now we are into the setting of partitioning. So if you're really a professional, you can just partition your drive with Kali Linux, but I recommend for a beginner not to do this, and use the entire disk as one partition for Linux to install. But if you want, you can just still go with manual partitioning and get it done, but I'm just going with the guided entire disk as one partition. So this is the virtual disk, the VMware virtual disk, which is around 10.7 GB. So almost 10 GB is what we just initially gave. So, and all files in one partition, and recommended for new users. So that's what I was talking about. But if you are a professional and you're working with Kali for years together, then you don't have to select this option. You can go for the other options, and you can create your own partition schemes. So finish partitioning. Yes, I'm just going to finish this. I'm not going to do anything other than finishing. So if you continue to change, this is very important to the disk. Otherwise you will be able to make further changes manually. So you want to make any changes, we can go back again, make changes. I don't want to make any changes. I'm going to say finish, and I'm going to say yes, sorry, and finish the partitioning disk. So I'm just going to I'll be fast forwarding this because there's a lot of things which gets loaded. So you will see a fluctuation on the screen, on the progress bar as well. So that's all because I'm just fast forwarding things so that the video is kept maximum short. Okay, so now that desktop environment selection, so what is the desktop environment you want to select? It's going to be Genome, KDE, Plasma, desktop environment, normal. So so I'm just gonna keep it same, and I'm not going to choose anything different because all these can be configured in the later state post installation. So you can switch to KDE Plasma or norm GUI. These are different type of GUIs, like how we have a GUI in Windows XP and a GUI in Windows 7 or Windows 10 or Windows 11 or Windows 8. So these are different types of GUI, so which we can switch later state. So I'm just keeping it normal and the default. Right, so the next is we need to select installation softwares. So now we have this coming up. It seems like that this installation is the only operating system. So this is about the grub is nothing but the the frontal design of the Unix platform. So are you going to install grub on the primary drive? Because we have only one drive. While I hope you guys remember that while partitioning we just created only one drive. So I'll just say yes and continue. So that's where so the grub will go in dev sta, that's a device for bootloader partition. So once that grub, that is the bootloader, is done, the installation eventually gets complete, and the system reboots just like a typical Windows. So we just have a reboot session and we come back on the Kali Linux grub. So just let's wait for a minute or two. So now we can see that the installation is complete. Please choose continue to reboot. So the installation is done. The system has boot up into the bootloader. It automatically selects the first option if you don't manually respond to select which bootloader you would like to go with. So once you select, then the operating system load sequence eventually starts, and as you can see on the screen, the operating system is slowly loading. It does take for the first time to boot the operating system quite some time, because it has to load and realign everything into the partition, and it has to load all the chain of packages and attach them to the operating system main desktop KDE, or whatever you're using or you selected. So once the packaging is done, the package is integrated, it then loads and shows you the login screen. So until you get the login screen, it is completely operating system which is repackaging itself to give you the options which you have selected while installation. So let's wait for this to load, and then we'll continue exploring the operating system. So there you go. So now you can see that this is a name which I gave while installing the Kali Linux purple, while I entered the username as rogue, and I did enter a password, and a system name is going to be the rogue labs. Alright, let me quickly try and log into the operating system. So I hit the password now. That's the password. I hit enter. So that's exactly what I said. So once you install the operating system, I would recommend you on the VM again shut down the operating system and go back and change the configuration set, especially the memory, and see how much utilized is the hard disk, based on which you can even also change the hard disk state. So that's how this goes on. Once it's logged in, you will be able to have the access to your operating system. And further to the next episode, I will definitely give you a heads up on how do you now secure this lab environment. What are the basic things which we need to do to secure the lab environment. That will be on our next episode. And finally, here we go. So we have got our operating system installed, and this is the complete installation sequence. So about VMware, how you download, you need to install the VMware on your base operating system. Then on the VMware you install Kali Linux, and all those options which we selected while we ran through the installation process. And then final outcome is that your operating system is ready. So the first phase of a secure lab function is done. The second phase is securing the Kali Linux operating system and all the additions to it. So we will on the next episode discuss more about this, and this will be all for this episode. Thank you for joining in to the Rogue World and the series exploring dark web, and especially the secure lab setup episode. So thanks guys, see you guys, and keep learning. You guys have a great time.